Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. It's still a little windy today, you will probably hear some noises in the microphone, but well, it's dry and the sun is shining, and in an hour or two the sun will be here, so it could be a rather enjoyable day. Today I'd like to do some work on this field maple, the big broom field maple, and well, there are a few things we have to do, and let's come a little closer to see what we have to do exactly. So first of all, the tree is now in this spot and is going to move into this spot. The pot is a whole lot bigger. It's well, just a little deeper, but it has more space, and well, that's because I don't want to repot this tree too often, and so I'll give him lots of space to grow in. And the other thing that we need to attend to is the part where I made some grafts, and it's this part here. Like you see, we have the grafts that are already well, quite okay, but not completely, and I could cut them off maybe. You see here the graft is well done, but it's not enough, and well, I'm a little bit afraid that if I cut it off now, you see this one is not okay, it's going to be a problem. So maybe you remember last year's video about this tree. I had to make a new raffia ring around it because, well, obviously the raffia was going to disappear completely, and yeah, well, if you look at the grafts now from a profile, you can see that they are not in the tree, they are on the tree. The same here. Here we have this gap that probably will close, but here again the grafts are more on the tree than they are in the tree. So that's not what I want. I want it really tight, and the only way that I can achieve this is by using, wait a minute, is by using this ring, you know, these things that you can really tighten very, very strongly. But of course, if I do that, I will have to protect the tree, and therefore I'm going to use raffia. So I prepared a little bundle of raffia, and it's completely wet now. You can use raffia for several purposes. If you want to bend a thick branch, for example, it's very good, but it's also good when you want to protect the bark of a tree. So here I will use it to protect the tree. So I'm going to remove this part afterwards, because there is the knot here and it's not going to help, because I want it as tight as possible. So I'm just going to block this part, which I will cut off afterwards. And now I'm going to wrap the raffia around the tree. To make a nice protective layer where I can apply the iron ring. And I'm doing this, of course, before I repot the tree, because the tree is now quite stable in its pot, and I'd like to keep it like that. I think this is enough. I don't need to use the whole raffia string, so I'm going to make a knot here. and then cut off the remaining parts like so. Okay, where are my scissors? Where are the here are some scissors. So that's good. Okay, so now the fused parts are here, so it's at that height that I should work. So I'm going to put this ring around it and start the first few twists with a screwdriver. Maybe a little lower. The first twist is always the most difficult one. Once that the thing is going in the right direction, it gets easy. Yeah. So now before I tighten this, I really have to look all around it. So here it enters that, so might get a little higher here. Yeah. So this part is very good. I think this height is the right one. So I think I can tie it now. Now this is not going to move. So probably in a year this will be very good. That's one of the reasons why I don't intend to cut back too much of the top here. Maybe a few branches that are really not useful. But we will see this a little later on. It's always possible to tie these things a little more. That's exactly what we want, because don't forget that the raffia is a little flexible, and if there are some marks, they will be here, and that's where you want to cut the branch next year, so it doesn't really matter. Even when the branches are cut next year, I still will need to compress the cut to the trunk. So, well, that's something for next year. I'm going to cut back a few branches here. So as you see, this is a nice outer branch. This is probably useful. This is completely useless because it's inside. For the rest, this is okay. Here I have, maybe I can zoom in, quite a lot of little new shoots. I hope you can see them. I mean this one. So this one is a good one. And it's not on a graft. You see, this is an original branch of the tree. So I think that I can take this off because it is not an interesting branch. I have this one that I can wire, or maybe I can use this one. This is another thing that I need to think of when the tree is growing. Well, so probably I'm just going to use these in the future, and this will be removed and this will be removed. But for the time being, it is closing the wound here in the middle, so I can keep it. This branch is not going to be used, so it can come off. Of course, like every year, I have tons of little new buds all over the place. Well, I think I'm zoomed in too much now. Yeah, so I removed the branch here, no big deal. We have all little shoots coming out here, new little buds. You need to get rid of them. But okay, that's for the top part. Now let's get this tree out of the pots. As you might remember from previous videos, this tree is an air layer, and I even grafted an extra root, which was a failure, I think. Didn't make it. But okay, I'm going to see if I can work with what I have, and if not, well, maybe I'll just graft another little root. So I'm trying to loosen this thing now. I like this pot a lot, but it has a lip under it, which makes it very difficult to get the trees out. And it's brown, well, gray-brown, which is not really suitable for a deciduous tree. It's more for a conifer. But that, of course, is a question of taste. If you want to put all your trees in a brown pot or a yellow one or a pink one, that's entirely your decision. So, okay, let's see if we can get this out now. It's not too bad, okay. I'm gonna put it in this tray here, like so. Try to... it's heavy. Yeah, it's done. Well, it grew well. So there are quite big roots that were turning around in the pot. Let's see. Yeah. Well, of course, it's nice that these roots are there. But it also means that the tree can use a repot, and that when some roots are becoming very big, some other roots are not following and are probably not well balanced. So I'll have to get this completely loose. Again, if you have a well-established tree with a nice root base, it is absolutely not necessary to get all the soil off, because this is a setback for the tree, and you don't want to do that if it's not necessary. There's a whole lot of weeds. I'm not going to take any of this moss, because I think there's too much weeds in it. But this will be a cleanup that will take half an hour. So I'm going to get all the soil off, wash the roots, and I'll see you when this is done. Okay, the roots are clean, well, almost completely. There are some moss particles remaining, but well, we have quite an interesting root base here. Yeah, the front of the tree is somewhere here, I think, somewhere like that. So this is a good root base, absolutely. Some roots are double. You see, this is one thin root, well, thin, and then there's another here under it that I don't really need then. So gonna shorten that one. Anyway, one thing that is absolutely clear is that these roots are very long, that I don't need a whole lot of that. So I'm just going to untangle that a little more and get rid of the lowest part, because I'm not going to put that in the pot again. Yeah, I think this is going to be a whole lot better for your view. So this can come off. There's no need to do the combing of roots that long. Just going to do some extra combing like this to be sure, because you know you wash these roots and then they get even more entangled. Okay. So you see, this is already a big part of the root system that I removed. And now I'm going to see if there are any roots that I can get rid of. Well, this one, obviously, you see, the roots here are nice and radial. 1 second. Oh man, lots of noise. Yeah, it's the farmers in the neighborhood. They're trying to work, of course. So, what did I say? Well, this, you see, these are the radial roots. This one is pointing directly at the bottom and is growing inside, so that's not good. It's going to cause all kinds of problems if you try to get the tree flat in the pot. So these are the ones I'm looking for. This one here, this one is not really interesting, but there's a little dude there, so maybe just keep the little dude and remove the other ones. So we're trying to get a flat root system. That's basically the whole point. And here you see that the tree was cut off here. So the roots are quite okay, I think, now. This is a terrible noise, sorry about that. And well, what I see is that some roots are crossing, so maybe I can do some little adjustments and remove some smaller roots. Here I have another problem. It's not really a big problem, but I have some roots that are crossing here, so this is not cool. This one really should come here. So this is something that I will address when I'm planting the tree. I'm just going to put a piece of bamboo here so that it keeps where it stays where I want it to stay. So that's not a big problem. This root is, well, it's okay. You see, I removed quite a lot of roots, so I'm not going to be too severe about this thing now. Let it just grow, and maybe in a year or two I'll do some more root adjustments. But anyway, I want to untangle everything so that most of the roots are going in a radial pattern. Quite pleased for the moment, I must say. Roots like this are a very good start, and they can be rearranged. This root is a little high, but you will see that in time, when it all thickens, this becomes one. These roots, they fuse. I think I did the whole thing now. So now let's see for the new pots what I have to cut off. So this is the front, somewhere like here. So I still need to cut off a little bit. Here and here. Okay. So that should fit. Yep. So I think I removed a whole lot now. And I should start the planting now. So let's see where we want the tree in the pots. So I think that this is going to be the front of the tree. We have this little movement here which makes it a little more interesting than a completely straight. On the other side, well, I think that this is okay too. We have a branch here that I can reuse. I have a back branch that can be interesting. But still, I like this side. This hole is going to be completely filled up with the grafts. I have this here. This will be removed, and it will be a hole in the trunk for the coming years. But it's not big a deal. So, okay, I'm going to add some lava at the bottom, and then pot the tree up, and that's it. The tree shall be a little to this side, I feel, but really slightly. Okay, so I'm going to pot it up. There's no use in showing that every time, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I made a little mountain here. And then this is the tree. So you see the mountain is a little bit off center. This is the front. Yeah, I know you cannot see it, but okay, it's okay like that. So why am I filming this? Well, because I just wanted to show a little trick here. So of course, if you can, this is the root of a weed, it's not good. If you can put all your roots where you want them by just using the soil you have, it's cool. But here in the back there are these crossing roots, and so I have a piece of bamboo, and I can use it in two different manners. So if it works like so, it's okay. So I'm just going to try to push this in the soil. Yeah, so it stays in position. I'm taking another piece, putting that here. It's moving, so it's not good. So the best thing to do here is just put a piece of bamboo between these two roots so that they stay open. It was too big. So that's better, we don't have crossing roots now, it bounces back. So I'll do it over and over again till it stays where I want it to stay. And then I'll block it with some soil. So now they're where they're supposed to stay, and I'm going to put some weight on it. And that should do the trick, so you see they're not crossing anymore. The tree is now potted up, and some small details can be fixed still, because you want the roots to come as flat as possible out of the trunk. It's a good idea now to grab these roots and put them exactly where you want them. So this one I'd like to have it here, a little more high, so I'm going to take it and then put some soil under it. Well, it's of course quite a lot of work to do that, but the whole purpose was to have a good root base. Here we see that we have very good roots, but then we have these very thin ones that are absolutely useless, so better to cut them off. And of course you can keep these in the ground. So for every little root that I see now, I'm going to see if there is a better way to position it. So that's a rather important operation. This is what will make your root base an okay root base or an excellent root base. These things, well, they might probably die, but they're in a good position, so I'm going to try to tuck them in. Just little ones, but with some fine soil they'll probably make it. So it does not matter at this point if your root base is completely visible or not. Thing is, it has to be healthy. This is a root that bothers me a little. I'd like to get it really, yeah. It makes this strange bump here, you see, so that I don't like it. Maybe I can just give it a little snip and break it a little. So this is a possibility. I'm going to insert some dust in it so that it does not bounce back. So it will probably heal. and callus over, and maybe next year I can give it another little snip, etc. So that's it. So this concludes the work on this quite big field maple. Well, I must say I'm pleased. You're looking at the front now. This branch is really nice, an interesting feature. I have some ramification already. It's not really, well, the point at this moment, but maybe I can start to work on some of the ramification. It will grow. It will get a thicker root base, and I hope that the grafts will do all right. So maybe next year we will have something to look at. Maybe I'll get it out of the pot next year just to do a root trim on the outer side. I don't know, I will see if this is necessary. In the future I plan to maybe get a oval or round pot that is, well, a little shorter than this one. Because it's a maple and well, it is a broom, so it's something soft, so maybe these corners are not really excellent, but for the moment the most important thing is to have a healthy tree. So I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.